Every single day I'm getting hit with a copyright strike. I don't know. It's one song that keeps getting me. I deleted the email, but... Well, if you get it too many of them, they'll kill your channel, but... I get the copyright strike, and then I get a follow-up email that says it's... So I've just been ignoring it. The follow-up email says, never mind, you're good, but I mean... The fact that I'm getting copyright stricken at all for music that I'm already paying the license is bullshit. Because like I said, you get so many of those emails and then YouTube's gonna be like, oh, they don't really have a good customer support. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a very good day. So yeah, PPI came out and it was a smash. It was a great number. Low, much lower than expected, so that's good news. Inflation looks to be a thing of the past. We already know inflation's pretty much done. The only thing that we have moving up to even support rate cuts is your unemployment number. And we did get a higher unemployment print for this month as well, last Friday. But if we look at like the S&Ps this morning, hang on 1 second, let's pull it. Tesla's moving back up. We needed above 360 to get out of that. Our trade on USO is not working. I gotta be honest, I can't remember a time when you break out of a symmetrical triangle and then you gap up, sell off, gap up, sell off. Like, I've never seen that. And guess what's happening this morning? It's gapping up. So literally since Friday, USO has gapped up and sold off, gapped up, sold off, and it's gapping up again. But it's not going in the right direction. It's going up. So I'll probably exit this trade today, USO. It's not doing what I wanted it to do. Unless it sells off hard today, like, it needs to close lower than yesterday. Yesterday was a close back under the level we're looking at as resistance, which is July's open. The exact same thing that happened on gold. So I'm not going to sit in this for very long to the downside, praying that it works out. Because, obviously, if it's going to reverse, I want to be in the opposite side. Now, I don't expect this to run like gold did. Gold was a lot different. It's a lot more, it's a whole different asset class. So it's got own other things driving price action. It's not just about the technical pattern. But whenever you have a symmetrical triangle break and it ends up being a false break, you typically want to take the opposite side of the trade. The only reason I didn't take the opposite side of the trade yesterday was because I wanted to see how it closed with the 21. And it did what we wanted, but today we're right back up against it. So I'm assuming this is probably going to break out, or at least start pushing to the upside. And yeah, we'll see what happens. This is priced directly from oil. You could just simply watch the oil chart. You don't have to watch this one because it's trading so stupid. But I did go back and look if there was ever another case where you had 3 down days, but each day was a gap up, and what happened after. And I didn't really find one. Right here, there's one where you break down, but you didn't break full on below the pattern, but you did get the breakdown. Then you had a gap up, sell off, gap up, sell off, and then the next day, boop, big move higher. But this doesn't actually fit, but it doesn't matter. What happens once in price also doesn't mean it's ever going to happen again. Price is completely chaotic, and Yeah, it does what it wants to do. Anyways, this morning I'm buying dips. Sorry, I should have probably started with that, but this morning I was watching Ethereum. Waited for it to pull back to the 50 here on the intraday basis, and I bought it. I'm long Ethereum at 43.58, and I'm long Fartcoin at 0.8501. I did the same thing on Fartcoin, only Fartcoin's pullback was a little bit deeper. You can see right in here, I bought the 100. And it pushed down into the 200, but is now starting to move up. Obviously, I don't know what these are going to do at the open. They could sell off at the open, but that's pretty damn good news. And if we look up top real quick at the VIX and everything else that we usually pay attention to, I mean, your VIX is down nicely today, and it's pushing at lows. Your ES 500, this is a daily chart here, breaking out to all-time highs. Dominance is weak, should help Fartcoin at least be bullish, but Bitcoin also breaking out to the upside here. We'll look at Bitcoin down here on the big monitor. We were pushing up into day res this morning. I wasn't looking for a short. Day res was right here. I knew PPI was coming out. PPI was a pretty significant market mover, not last month, but the month prior to that. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin looks like it was trying to fail, but then we had a big, nice move, remember? So yeah, I mean, any dips, like even if it looks bad, you want to typically be a buyer. The VIX is down, guys. The VIX is down. Everybody wants to short. Everybody's looking for Bitcoin to roll over, and there's literally nothing out there telling us to be short. So we need to be long. Here's Ethereum looking good. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. 1, 2. Well, this doesn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And today, 5 days. You've been testing the 100 exponential or the 20 exponential, holding support. Holding support. It's a buying opportunity. If we break out here and we make fresh all-time highs, it's going to be about a 15% move on Ethereum. It's actually 17% from down here, but with Bitcoin, it's a 10% move. So fresh all-time highs on Ethereum and Bitcoin, I would probably rather be long Ethereum just because it's a bigger move to get to the same place, right? So that's what I did. I got long Ethereum, I got long Fartcoin, but we'll see if I end up holding those trades. The Ethereum isn't really working out, but Fartcoin is doing okay. It's doing okay. And then clearly NYX is still up on highs. We had a couple this morning that were rocking and rolling, but once I got the news on them, it was Bake, SLF. Bake is up 300% today. I actually, once I got the news, it changed my bias and I tried to short it and got stopped out. But the news was Bake, Self, and then Hi-Fi. This one was up. Hi-Fi was up also. But ultimately, it also spiked back up higher. So where it did top out originally wasn't the top. Now, this might not be the top either. But anyways, the news on these is all three of these are getting delisted off of Binance. So this is probably a one final pump type of scenario here. Oh, here's Bake. All right, it's pulling back now, but it's up 300%. It's getting delisted. If it's getting delisted, then that means it's getting taken off of exchanges. And it's not just one exchange, but anytime it's Binance, you can just go ahead and say, well, I don't want to be in it anymore because it's probably getting delisted on my exchange as well. If Binance is delisting it, there's a reason for it. clearly. But I mean, if you just look at this chart, it looks like absolute total worn out, dog dumped turd waffles, right? It looks bad. It looks great today, of course. It's up 300%. This is probably one final dump or pump before it ultimately gets delisted. So why would you want to hold that long if there is a potential your money's going to go bye-bye? Now, I don't know what they would do in that scenario. If you owned spot and it gets delisted, they might just convert what you own to Tether. I don't know. They could just say, you could just say bye-bye crypto coins. Because when you try to send the wrong crypto on the wrong chain to the wrong wallet, you lose those crypto coins. So if you have a lot of money, or if you hold any of these three assets, you might want to seriously think about getting out today now that you're getting a 300% pump. Not all of them are pumping 300%. Bake is up 300%. SLF is up 158%, but it's only had 247,000 tokens traded. I thought it was 400,000, so that number's had to go down since I was looking at it early this morning. I don't understand how volume numbers can go down. They can't. Maybe I looked at it wrong, but I'm almost positive it said 400,000 tokens. And then Hi-Fi's got 2.57. Maybe it was Hi-Fi that was up at 400,000 or something like that. I generally won't trade anything that's not trading millions. If there's not at least 1 million 24-hour volume, I don't like trading it. The only one that I do trade that isn't like that is Book of Meme. Book of Meme. I trade it, and it never has more than 400,000. But that's the only one, right? It's the only one. Anything else, I don't trade it. But Bake is up huge. Boom. SLF and Hi-Fi. Those are your big movers for today. I tried to get long this one, or short this one, and got stopped out. And then I was watching Hi-Fi for a specific area to get long. And that is right here. I was watching last week's fib, and it was the 236. So right here is where I was looking for the long, but I never got the test. I was looking for a wick into that and a rejection, and it never filled me. And I wish it would have, because I would be up, even still, be up 20%, like not freaking bad. Now with both of these, I could not trade more than 8,500 tokens. Once again, when that is when that's the issue, I'm not trading it. That's literally not even like a 0.5% of my total equity. It's like, I can't even, it's like a $35 position. It ain't worth it. Or less than that in some cases. But yeah, those are your big movers today. I mean, could it still pump even knowing that this is getting delisted? Absolutely. It doesn't matter when it's being delisted on the 27th, according to the news. 17th. Sorry. That's huge. That's only 7 days from now. Here it is, so you can see it on monitor. Yeah, it's being delisted on the 17th. Hi-Fi had to be delisted from Binance September 17th. Bakery Swap delisting. So, I mean, a lot of delisting happening here. And it's the same on all three of those. Bake, Hi-Fi, and SLF. They could still rally. Ooh, Farcoin blowing up on me. Nice. Good job, dude. Liking that. But yeah, risk off, guys. Buy dips. Sometimes the dips aren't as clear to look at and be a buyer of. especially because there's so many people out there telling you it's bearish and giving you a million reasons why. Like, they can't just say, I have a bearish bias, this is what I'm going to do. They have to also, push in all the reasons why they're bearish and what is going to happen to the economy. So you have to ignore all of that. You just have to stick to the fundamentals, stick to the trend, stick to the rules. As long as you do all of that, you will be fine moving forward. You'll be absolutely fine, right? Farcoin doesn't look like a long, but here it is. You're above the daily 21. Now, clearly the 200's up here, yearly opens up here, so it might act as resistance. But at least for yesterday and today, you have an upside bias. And another thing you can look at to help you with your bias, if you're not only looking at the VIX, right? You want to see other things. Pull up NZD-JPY. Now, with NZD-JPY, it's not always going to give you a good signal. But typically speaking, if the NZD is strong and the yen is weak, you're going to be up on this. And if you're up on this, it is a risk on day. Risk on day. Or just pull up your currency futures watch list and see if the yen is down. If the yen is down and Aussie or New Zealand are up, and they're up nicely, then you want to be bullish, more or less, because that is risk on. So you're not only using the S&P index to show you that there's risk on, Bitcoin to show you that there's risk on, you're also looking at other things, and they all say risk on. Right now, the Swiss franc is at 0.00%. Well, here, I'll just show you. I forget you guys can't see my watch list. I don't do that to hide anything. I do that simply because you know how these numbers tick? Like each tick, it flashes. Well, that, when I had really bad internet, that would help lower the bit rate. That would help lower the quality. It would cause the stream to spin because of all the flashing. YouTube has to collect each and every one of those flashes. So someone told me off air one day that your streams would probably do better if you hid your watch list or kept it closed. That way you can, people don't really need to see the watch list, but here it is. Like, these are all the the currency futures out there. That's it right there. They're all whatever. 6 Swissy, 1 exclamation. 6 euro, 1 exclamation. 6 British pound, 1 exclamation. Yen. Though the yen isn't down, but it's not up huge, right? If it's up huge, it's a risk off day. So not a lot of things out there telling us to be short-sighted, not to have a short bias. But the market's just open, and we'll see what they do here. Let's go back to ETH because that's the one I'm holding. Look at it, it's getting beat up again. I also need to keep my eye on Farcoin because I don't want it to get beat up again. But Farcoin has been beat up the most out of all the meme tokens. But I also was, of course, I was in a short on Pingu yesterday. I closed that as soon as we got the news. I was like, no, I'm out. I'm getting out. I'm glad I did. I would have got stopped right there. Pingu was a buy. Pingu was a buy. Remember, when we break out above the yearly opening range, we usually look for price coming back into it to be a buying up. I was allowing my own personal biases get in the way of this yesterday. That's the only reason I even shorted it. But it just would have stopped me out and everybody else that took the short yesterday. So if you want to short it now, I guess be my guest, right? But it's clearly bullish. It's not breaking down, or maybe it wants to go higher before breaking down. I doubt it. But you're so far above the daily 21 exponential right now. Like, I don't know what price will do, but it's really bullish out there today. ETH is struggling though. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't like this. So we're gonna watch ETH here. I might have to get out of my long and then re-enter it. But because I entered on the 50 here, it's just now getting to my entry. I don't necessarily have to exit this yet. But obviously if we push down into here and continue to push, I'm going to exit. But I still think that this is a potential long. I can't imagine it would be a short all day. It might be a short up here because Bitcoin just tagging, liquidating that weekly high. Maybe it is a short. I don't know. That's the first time you've been able to get up there all week. You got CPI data tomorrow. I couldn't imagine things being super movie today, like moving all over the place. But everything is bullish. I mean, there's really nothing out there saying we should be bearish except for the fact that the ES is at all-time highs. Like, that's not a bearish signal. That's a bullish signal. So we'll give Ethereum a minute here. Ethereum's been struggling. I ain't gonna kid you. But it's just been sideways AF. But this is a pullback on the daily range. So if it explodes to the upside today, I mean, W is up 11%, then this would be an opportunity to get long on Ethereum. Like, you would be buying this or buying the 200. That's what you're looking for. I don't know why this platform is lagged up again. Trying to scrunch it up. When you're trending, you want to buy those dips. Now, generally speaking, we don't want to see it go up and then immediately come back to the 200, as that would be a potential bearish sign. But you didn't do that. You didn't go up and immediately come back to the 200. You went up and then you traded sideways for a long time, hit the 50, then went up again. Traded sideways and then pulled back slowly back into the 100. These are buying opportunities, these pullbacks. This is not bearish. If it goes up and then instantly rejects, that's bearish. Not instant rejection here. This has been taking time. Like, this has been happening since 8:30. It's 9:30. So for a solid hour, you've been basically putting in a range up here. I expect there to be bears here, of course, because there's bears all the time, every day, everywhere, right? There's always bears. You're always going to have people out there that are bearish. And the more red candles you have, the worse it is. And it shouldn't be that way. Occasionally you have the few that like to try to call tops. Or anyway, you're testing September's open. Not for the first time this month. This is actually going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7th time you're testing September's open for resistance. But it is a very big objective price point. So I know there are some people shorting this. This is a fresh trend line break. It's not the best trend line in the world, but it is a trend line. You've not closed a 4-hour candle above this trend line, not yet. You got 2 hours and 23 minutes to do it here. I don't know that you will do it, but it looks good. It's a buying up. If it rolls over and stops us out, oh well. But yeah, it's a dip buying opportunity all the way down to the 200. So if it pushes, I'll get out and I'll re-enter down here. Now this is also the 382 of August's range. Or no. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So August's range. Ooh. Not a very deep September push, is it? I shouldn't even have that on there, but where's the 100 exponential? All the way down here. Okay. So it is a buying opportunity. It's a little bit further away than we would like from the 100, but I'm not. If it goes all the way back there, then I probably ain't going to be thinking that this is bullish. We'll see what it does. It looks weaker than Bitcoin, and maybe Bitcoin's going to pull back today. I can't imagine why it would do so on a very good number like that. It can. It will pull back if there's more sellers than buyers. That's the way supply and demand works. So we just gotta grit our teeth and hopefully the longs show up. All right, so good morning, Lifestyle Media, Janet's Thoughts, Philip, King Money, KF, Johnny Utah. Good morning, everybody. Let me dump my ashtray. I haven't full on quit smoking, but I've done a really good job. I only smoke 2 cigarettes in the morning, and that's it. So eventually I will be able to stop. It's that cup of coffee. If I could stop drinking that habit forming cup of coffee every morning, then I wouldn't need to smoke that cigarette with it. But two is better than a pack a day. But eventually I am going to be completely done with it. That's what I'm working for. I've been taking the Zone 9 milligram packets. I tried Zen. I didn't like it. I like the Zone better. It just has a better flavor. It tastes more like, you know, how nicotine, if you ever dipped before, like dipped tobacco, snuff, or smokeless tobacco, instead of chewing it like full grain leaf, you just pack it in your lip. I used to do that when I was a kid. My dad used to buy it for me. So I've been on nicotine since I was like 12, 13 years old. My dad told me he would never support my smoking habit. My dad chewed tobacco. He said, if you're going to be a man, then at least chew tobacco. So I was like, okay, well, I don't like chewing tobacco. I'll do dip. Is that cool? He's like, yeah. So he bought my dip for me. So when I went to school, I was that kid. I was that kid that everybody came and every morning was like, hey, dude, can I get a dip? Hey, dude, can I get a dip? Because my parent bought it for me. So I always had it. But anyways, getting off topic, whenever you have a dip in your lip, whenever you would swallow, you would get that nicotine flavor as well as the dip flavor, like the wintergreen or whatever. Straight is what I dipped, straight. So I would taste the nicotine. When I do the Zone and I swallow it, I can taste the nicotine. It tastes the same as it did in tobacco. But yeah, I like the Zone better. It's working. As long as I have some form of nicotine, I'm okay. My doctor wants me to quit all nicotine products. But I was like, dude, he's like, no, I would much rather you do that than smoke for sure. But getting off all of it is the goal. So yeah, that is the goal. Farcoin's up 5%. So when I bought it this morning, it was up 2%. And it was a little bit risky because it was up already 2%. And Farcoin is way out there. I don't know why I chose that one instead of anything else. I know why I chose it, because it didn't have a really good look yet. It was like literally down in here when I bought it. It was retesting this area of resistance here. So it's got to get above this as well. When we're in a bullish market environment, I never expect big, huge bullish days. The only time you get those real big, gigantic bullish days, usually you're in an elevated VIX environment, like a dead cat bounce from the markets getting absolutely pummeled. Then you get those massive bullish days. I never expect that in a bullish market, but up days after up day is nice, and that's the one thing we really haven't been getting on the favorites, right? The big crypto favorites, your Solanas, your Ethereums, your Bitcoins. Also with risk markets too, the ES, it's been like gapping up above all-time highs and then selling off. So it has been a little bit difficult to get long on these things, but we have been given plenty of chances, plenty of opportunities to be long these things. Let's go see what the cash market is doing today. Yeah, big gap up into fresh all-time highs. Apple's down 2%. That might have an adverse effect on the market. Microsoft also down. Remember, with these stocks, they go from the close of the previous day to where price is trading now. So this is down, but it's not down significantly because yesterday's close is right there. It is down a couple percent if you go by just the open. Down 1.2%. So I guess in the land of stocks, it kind of is not quite a 24-hour change like they do on weeks. Everything you look at on weeks, the percent change is going to be from this time 24 hours ago. So whatever time, if you're looking at the charts at 1 p.m. your time, the asset is up that much from 1 p.m. yesterday. I don't like that, but I can't change it. That's why sometimes you'll see a lot of things like absolutely ripping, but will only be up like 5% on the day. But anyways, Microsoft looking good. Nvidia is up nicely, but that's why the S&P is up nicely. Nvidia can't be stopped. Google was also making fresh all-time highs. I mean, still is. It's not today, but it did yesterday. So Google's been on an absolute tear. It was being sideways and garbage price action back here. Remember? Apple is doing the same thing here. Apple was struggling to break out. It broke out and didn't go anywhere. So eventually, guys, I would expect Apple to put in a bullish trend similar to that of Google. Why? Because it hasn't yet, and Apple makes money. They're not as big on the AI train as everybody else, and that is why they have been struggling all year. But as soon as Apple comes out, or I don't know if they have yet, I mean, it also helps to be the leader in a space. Clearly, Nvidia is that leader. But when Apple's AI is out and working properly, Apple's stock will fly. Unless they're working on something else that they think is going to do better in the future. I can't think of anything, but I'm not on Apple's development team either. Right? For future growth. But I think they have been seeing a little bit of hard times this year. Eventually they'll get their shit together. Apple is a good company to own. So eventually Apple is a buy on dips. This is a pretty not great dip to buy, but we'll see what it does here today. It's testing the 21. I don't like how fast it got down there, but there it is. Bitcoin pushing. Yeah, the sellers are September. I mean, we're just now hitting the level that we were waiting on for it to hit when it was down here. Remember? We were also watching the 786 of last week, but I got rid of that because we traded right back up above it again, right in here. I was like, well, that's clearly not acting as resistance. Bitcoin does look like it's going to break out. And here it is. It is breaking out right now on good news. So yeah, now we're testing the 382 of August's range and August's VWAP. It'll be really good for Bitcoin if it can hold both of those levels. In the future, it might not be able to hold it today, guys, but in the future would be very good for it. Then it might start looking like September might be a good month. I mean, we're up on September highs right now. That's good. We're not on September lows. Being at September lows would be bad. We're not down there. We're making fresh monthly highs. That's a good sign. Now, this is the second week of September, and we're still pushing up on highs. So there is that little nagging voice in the back of my head saying any day this week we could put in the monthly high. And I get it. I do. Next week we have FOMC though, and that will be the third week of September. And we are expecting a rate cut. So a 25 basis point cut, nothing more. Oh, bitch. Nothing more. We'll see if it can hold these gains. That would be very, very, very nice. But I mean, we can watch it, right? We know what we're watching here. That's why having the fib up, having the VWAP up is a really good thing. Now, the midpoint check will probably be where your resistance level is on Bitcoin, or where we could potentially look for near-term scalp shorts on Bitcoin. I'm not going to, like, for me to trade Bitcoin up at these prices, it's just too expensive fee-wise. Wait a minute, are we public? Why are we public? Never mind. Sorry, guys. I thought we were. My bad. I mean, I'm not gonna change it, obviously, but all right. Anyways, I thought it was a Discord only day. Sorry. Anyways, we're not going to be looking for shorts on Bitcoin simply because the fee structure is way too expensive. So, like, for me to jump out of a trade, it costs like $50, and I don't like that. So I'm not going to be trading Bitcoin. I'm going to just keep my eyes on some of the weaker alts and maybe look for a potential resistance level on those instead of Bitcoin. I own Bitcoin in a cold storage wallet. So typically I just want to hold Bitcoin long in cold storage and let it just grow over time. Since I don't have a platform now where I can trade the inverse swap contract, I am going to look into doing that again, because that is the best way to accumulate a lot of Bitcoin, especially if you're a profitable trader. But yeah, Fartcoin and Ethereum both looking pretty good now. Look at that. Yeah, you got to be a dip buyer when everything is bullish. You just got to. Looks good. This isn't up enough for me to take profits, but it is up enough for me to take profits on Fartcoin, as we're setting at $300. So that's a good day. That's a good day. We'll cut that in half, and it'll still be a decent position size. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to catch the freaking ETH long together with the public stream for once. Finally, that was good. I'm still holding the ETH long, so I took it with you. That's it right down there. I took it a little bit earlier than you, but I took it nonetheless. So let's get out of this Fartcoin while we got some money. We're going to cut the position in half. We're going to set it at 78%, and we're going to cut it in half. We want to take 50% of our position off. And then we want to set a stop loss for 0% at 100% of the position size. Very simple, easily done on the Weeks platform. Now, hopefully it'll go up there and tag me, and we can be profitable every day this week. It's not been a super great week, but it's been a decent week. And yeah, let's get back down to the main screen as I wait on that fill. Like I said, Ethereum hasn't pushed up enough yet. Fartcoin is up multiple percents from where I got long. So I got long, it's at 6% on the day. I got long when it was at 2. So that's a 4% rally. I did just get filled on that take profit order. So we're good to go on that one. Ethereum is up 2%, but if you go to where we got long at, you can see it's only up 1.26%. It has to be beyond 2% for me to hit profits. Fartcoin was 4%, so good, right? Good stuff. But yeah, it looks good. It looks like we're going to see continuation to the upside. Looks really, really good. It's trying to break out of a trend line. The market's open. Go ahead and get out of the USO if you haven't yet. USO is not doing what we wanted it to do. We wanted it to check July's open for resistance. Clearly it did on Monday and yesterday. It held on the close. So I held it thinking that we might finally see a gap down on it. We did not. Gapped up again. Now it could find resistance here, so you don't have to close it. But the same rules apply from yesterday because we are sitting in a long put. That means we are losing money right now. So if you take out the day high, yesterday high, you're trending at that point, and it could turn into a full-on bullish reversal because this is a fake breakout or a fake false breakdown. Okay, so keep this on watch all day. At any point you start trading up in there, you need to seriously think about getting out. Don't keep holding it and praying. That's what gets you in trouble a lot of times, right? That's what used to get me in trouble. Just holding on to something against me and praying that it comes back. Maybe even doubling down to move that position up a little bit. Yeah, no, don't do that. That's terrible. I would rather you add to winning positions. That's why on Fartcoin I can take profits. If we do get a massive upside expansion that lasts for a couple of days, we can always re-add on a dip. The thing is they have not been trending for a long time. I get it. It sucks. I understand. I hate that too. I'm not selling out of the money calls or out of the money puts. So obviously I've not been making great money on these things. As far as, the longer term swing trades or whatever. But we'll see what it does here. It has literally, the sellers have not been able to push it beyond $4,267. I don't know why they're hitting the breaks down there, but they have been, obviously. You're above the September open now on Ethereum. So this is what we want to see. We want to see it hold this level going into CPI tomorrow even and get more upside continuation. What is CPI expecting tomorrow? So expectations are that nothing changes. The month-over-month rate is expected to come in at 0.3, which is a 0.1% move up. So yeah, right here, inflation rate month over month, they are expecting that to tick up, and they're expecting the inflation rate year over year to tick up slightly as well. From 2.9 to 3, from 2.7 to 2.9. Sorry, I was reading core inflation, but talking about the inflation rate. The inflation rate is the CPI number that we look at, or the U.S. inflation data. This chart over here. Right here. You're at 2.7 right now. So, yeah, they're expecting that to tick up just a little bit. Wait, no, they weren't, right? Yeah, 2.9. So 0.2%. 0.2%. So that could have negative ramifications on the market tomorrow for sure. And with the Fed, their only tool that they have to combat inflation and unemployment is rates. So when inflation goes up, they want to hike rates. When job numbers go up, they want to cut rates. So I would assume they're probably still going to cut even if we get a higher tick. If you get a lower tick, like if we 2.7 or under, then they're definitely going to cut. The bond market is telling us they're going to cut. We looked at the 2-year the other day. The 2-year pretty much, it's like on par with the Fed fund rate, and it's pricing in lower. So it's pricing in that cut. You don't have to take my word for it. You can pull up this data yourself and then just add the Fed fund rate, new price scale, and there you go. Like, it is pretty damn close. It's not always like right on, because the bond market itself will start to price in those moves ahead of the Fed in most cases. Like, the bond market starts to go in that direction before the Fed does, and it's doing that again. Like, these are monthly candles. Oh, the Fed hasn't been doing anything. Well, the US 2-year has been trending lower. 3 months of downside, 4 months of sideways, 2 months of down. So you are trending lower. The bond market is pricing in the Fed rate cut. Or just look at the Fed Watch tool. It's the same thing, right? It's going to tell you the same thing. All right. Back over to Bitcoin, as this is the Bitcoin chart. Looking really good on the monthly. It's still just an inside month, as we did not take out August's low, did we? In September, yes, we did. Yeah, that was August's low. So you're not an inside month. You did. This is the first day of September. You did, in fact, take out August's low. So it isn't an inside month. Could it end up being a bullish engulfing? It could. There's still 2 weeks and 3 days, 2 weeks and 5 days on this monthly candle. But I mean, you would need a gigantic move to the upside to do that, because that's August's high. So to be a bullish engulfing, you would have to move up that 10%. Yeah, my bad on the whole dip talk. I wouldn't have been talking about that if I would have known that I was live to the whole wide world. It doesn't matter. Moving on. Book of Meme trading up nicely here. Very sideways asset, but when it does get moving, it can get moving really big. You've seen a lot of consolidation here. You're kind of putting in another triangle, and I do like breaks of triangles. They just typically do work. Not always, but they can keep you from doing anything dumb. Like, for instance, being a buyer at 2466, you might not want to do that, clearly, because you're just breaking out of that wedge. So, yeah, I mean, looks really good. If it breaks out and retests a key objective level, we could be a buyer, maybe. And we got a nice breakout. This is not, what is that? That is not a weekly open. Yeah, it is. Okay, but it's a long time ago. We'll just call that weekly res. That way we're not confused as to what it is moving forward. If it breaks out above weekly res and then comes back in for a retest, we could potentially be a buyer, as it would be a breakout. Now, at any point in time, if you were to lose this objective level and go back into the range, then you would have another false break to the upside. Then I would have a more short side bias on it. Why do we not have September's open on this? We have August's open, not September. There it is. So it looks good. I like it. Can it hold? That's the big thing. You're above August's volume weighted average price, so that's good. We don't have September's volume weighted average price, but if we're above August's, we're definitely going to be above September's. And then this is your old weekly. How many weeks ago is it? 3. So this is a big level to get above as well, as that was a very decisive weekly reversal. Since it is such a decisive weekly reversal, it's nice to keep track of where that volume weighted average price is, because it will help people navigate moving on. So, I mean, it's so close to August, I guess we could delete it, right? We don't need it. So close to August, we can just remember that. So any pullback into this area and a support hold would be a buying op, knowing that resistance is just overhead. Looks okay though. Not bad at all. Bitcoin looking really good here. We were expecting a little bit of resistance to come into play here. We are seeing that. I want to get back over here to Ethereum. Got to keep this one on watch as well, as we did buy this. So looking really good. Looking like a legit breakout here. And August's range was so big, you can tell just how big it was by the width of the fibs. It's just a beautiful support. I mean, how many days of support do you need to make before it's like, this is failing to break down? Generally speaking, when the bears are in control of an asset, they don't need multiple days to break it down. Generally speaking. Like, here was a liquidation break. Wasn't the biggest liquidation break or the highest point, but it was a liquidation above this day's swing high. Well, no. But anyways, you can see how aggressive the bears can be, right? That's a 30-minute period right there. 3 candles, 1, 2, 3. So you gave all of that back. So what's stopping them from doing that down here? Well, I'll tell you what's stopping them from doing it. They're not doing it. That's why we slowly migrate back to the upside. They were loving a short here. They were not loving a short down here. So they ease up. They ease up off the gas. They're like, hold up, wait a minute. So yeah, now the bulls have got it back into control, but we know that they are coming back up to that weekly supply level, and we know the sellers did like it there. So that would be the profit taking area for longs today, more than likely. And that would give us our 2% move. So we're golden. If we could get up there, set take profits at 44.70 on Ethereum, 44.70. You want to take profits ahead of the level just in case they try to front run it. USO trying to push up still. Farcoin looking golden here. Loving it. This thing, why isn't this breaking down? The funding rate is the only reason I can see. I mean, it's up 22%, 24-hour change. Funding rate is still so strong for the bulls, man. When your funding rate is that big, that is huge. You want to see this number to be positive and be like 0.005 or 1, not 0.6. And it's still calculated, every hour, because the 4-hour candle change at noon. We got 2 hours or an hour and 52 minutes left on the 4-hour close. So this is still producing this kind of a fee every hour. That's why it's not breaking down, because bulls are like, it's trading sideways. So if I can get my entries in low, I can make that much every hour just by holding longs. That's why it ain't breaking down. If it breaks down significantly, this funding rate will change. It did the other day when it broke down, because it was up like this, up into these highs, and then it broke down a couple, like 2 hours it broke down, and then that funding rate went to normal and then started supporting the sell side. But it wasn't long, and it changed back to the buy side, and you've been going sideways ever since. It does look like it's trying to break out. And if that funding rate, I don't know if the funding rate is the same on your exchange. It could be different. But if you look at this on your exchange and it has a super high funding rate like that, and the longs are getting paid, whenever it's negative, the longs are getting paid. When it's positive, the shorts are getting paid. Then you can see why this thing is holding support, and the supports are getting higher. So support was over here, then it set in a higher support right here. They bought it here. Now this would be support. They bought that here and here. Now your support is higher. 1409.79. You can be a buyer on this at 14.0979 if it doesn't break down with a strong close. If it breaks down with a strong close, a weak close, sorry. If it's a weak close, you will leave it alone. A weak close would look like this. A weak close would be something like that. Boom. If you get something like this on a 30-minute candlestick chart, of course you don't want to buy that level. If it slowly comes into it and then puts a wick under it, like that, then you can try to buy it with a stop under there. Or if price is trading under the level, do not buy it until you get the liquidation below that candle, and then it gets back above it. Then buy it. Make sure your stop is right there. That's the only way you can trade it. And the funding rate clearly will matter. Yes, it will. Because if the funding rate switches to for the bears, you don't think people don't want to short an asset that's up 1,000%? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And then also the longs that are holding from way back here, right? They've just been steady getting paid that funding fee. They will then be like, oh shit, probably time to get out of this. The fun is over. And that will bring in more selling pressure at the same time. So just keep an eye on the funding rate. I don't want you to buy an asset up 1,000% if the funding rate says no, then don't. But as long as that funding rate's like that, you can potentially be a buyer of this. All right. What other ones do we want to look at here real quick? XRP is up 2%, so it's not really rocking and rolling yet. It's also trading into an obvious level of resistance, being the August open. August's VWAP is also giving confluence to that price. This is July's fib, not August's. So let's get rid of that. We got so much garbage here. Let's get rid of the moving averages. This needs to come over here to Monday, sorry. And we also need a blue one for September. Perfect. So yeah, I mean, XRP is potentially at an area where it could break out here. Testing August's VWAP, August's open, sellers will be hitting it here because they're looking for downside continuation. You have been making lower highs and lower lows for 1 month. I mean, for the month of August, you were in a downtrend. Clearly, you are not in a downtrend for the month of July. So if you're taking a short, you're taking a short based on August's price action, not July's, correct? Yeah. So we're going to be looking, not me, but you would be looking for a short in this area right here. I would probably rather see a liquidation above yesterday's high, but it doesn't have to happen for the short to be taken. August's open is an objective price point. This will always be August's open forever in time. This level will never change. In 2026, this will still be August 2025's opening price. Though it is an objective level and short sellers will be attacking it if they have a bearish bias on XRP. A lot of ifs there, I get it. Just letting you know, if you want to be a seller here, it's not a downtrend. The month of September is an uptrend, but you would be taking it based on the weakness that you saw in August. We can fib August's range just to see how weak it is in comparison to August's range. And it's not super weak, but it's not strong either. You're still below the midpoint. So yeah, a whole big gigantic zone of confluence here. The whole zone is like this wide for sellers to attack. And they have multiple confluences here. So a breakout above all of this would look really good for XRP. Next level of potential resistance, 31.13. So if you get above all that, if you're long from down here at support, then clearly this would be a good profit target. I mean, this is a better profit target, the level that it's currently testing. And we can go intraday and see if sellers are in fact. They are not. Looks like your big sellers are taking place just short of the level. But when I'm looking to be a seller at a level like this, point of control all the way down here at day range, I would want to see that point of control migrate up. And I would want to see that point of control migrate up to the objective level that I'm watching before I would be interested in even taking a short on it. So like, I'm not interested in shorting XRP right here, right now. But if I start to see those traders attacking this level and the volume starts to build up, and it builds up so strongly that the point of control migrates to it, and price is just chopping all day at it for the rest of the day, then I could potentially look for a trade there. But as of right now, I'm not seeing a short. Not yet. Not on XRP. If you want to take it just because it's August's open and you feel as if though it is not going any higher, then go ahead, right? It is your money. Be my guest. I don't know that it's going to break out. That's the one thing I can't tell you. I can tell you a lot of stuff about XRP. The one thing I cannot tell you is where it is going. But it looks good. I mean, it doesn't look like a short. Yesterday was a pullback candle. You're seeing that 3-bar formation, upside continuation even. Well, you don't have upside continuation yet. You need to get above yesterday's high before you can say you're seeing upside continuation. But the fact that you're trading above Tuesday's high is good. It's not bad. If I was short XRP from yesterday, I would be sweating that, right? You would too, clearly. If you were short from yesterday and you shorted August's open yesterday, today you would be upset. You'd be pissed. I would be pissed. Like, you stupid piece of crap. Why ain't you going down? Trade Talk said to short the August open. No, he did not, but yeah, I get it. I closed my short on Pingu today, and I said the exact same thing. You stupid piece of crap. I said it was going down yesterday. It didn't. It looked good till it traded into the early opening range, and then it stopped. Dead in its tracks. The sellers said, I'm not going to take a chance down here. We'll see if they try it again. It does look like they are trying it. You are seeing volume build up. My only problem with it, I mean, I guess it's the August midpoint, so makes sense why I'm seeing sellers build up positions here. If the problem is you're above the August open, you're seeing upside continuation from that. You're way above the September open. That's your September high. It is still intact. We did not liquidate Sep's high yet. It could today. And if it does, then all of these shorts are going to have to take profit or get stopped out. Not take profits, they're going to get stopped out. And then that could force price up to the 618 of August range. The last place I would be even short or have a short side bias on Pingu would be the 786. But if you look at the structure, you're up into wicks up in there. So I don't love that. That means you're literally trading above the high month close, which was made in August. That's the highest monthly close of all time for Pingu. I'm sorry, July. It was made in July. Oh, you're above that. That's not great for shorts. But if they are expecting it to remain weak inside of August's range, then I could be a seller as high as 38986, but no higher than that. Because above that, you're looking for a breakout. So we'll see. To me, for me to have a short side bias on this, given where the daily 21, the weekly 21 is, September's open, all of that jazz, I would literally need to see it reject here today in a big, big way. So I'm not giving up on a Pingu short here, but I'm not taking it here either. So I tried yesterday. I wanted to see continuation today. We're not getting that. It's doing the opposite of what I assumed would happen. I was actually expecting something similar to happen over here. You traded above August's price. Didn't really get a big downside move the next day, but the day after that you did. Remember, tomorrow is CPI. So the short on Pingu might not be until tomorrow's newsprint. And then what we could look for, depending on what happens for the rest of the day, would be, a liquidation above today's high. So we would be looking for the Asian Open tonight to run above today's high and reject that price. If that were to occur, then I might take another shot on a short on Pingu. But if today ends up closing like hugely bullish, then no. Like if today ends up looking like this, then no, I do not have a short side bias. I don't have a short side bias on it now. My rules and trend following strategies tell me that I have to have a bullish bias on this. You're well above the daily 21. The daily 21 is literally right here. Well above it. And you're above all the other moving averages. There's your 200, 100, 50, 21. I mean, it's trending to the upside. Not a short. As far as looking for shorts, we could jump back up on the big monitor up top and just look what is weak today. And weeks gives us a built-in scanner here. PTBUSD. This is extremely weak today. In fact, the last time I looked at this, it was only down 12%. That was a potential 8% short we could have made on it. Boom. It's breaking down. So clearly I don't want to short it now, but earlier when it was only down 12%, it still didn't look like a short then either. To be honest with you, there's no way to know you're going to get... Well, you had one time framing all the way up to 3:30 this morning. So if you go back in time, at the London session open, you could have been watching old support here for a short entry. It wouldn't have been an easy trade to take because I would have looked at this and thought to myself, well, we're at the lows. No, we're not at the lows. Right over here is the low day. So you were at the highs. You rejected the day highs and you were under support. Yeah, I could have shorted that. But anyways, I didn't. But there's no way to know that you're going to get that. Every candle makes a lower low and a lower close. Every candle all the way until you get here. This was the first 30-minute candle that you actually made a higher high. And it ended up being a selling event. So, I mean, if you want to short something, guys, short something that's down on a risk-on day. Because that's literally telling you, even though it's risk-on out there across the whole market space, these things are still getting beat up. So that shows you inherent weakness. Like this is a potential short side entry here on Jelly Jelly. It used to be old resistance over here. Yeah, you've got an old resistance of... I was going down to the bottom monitor for a resistance level. Oops. You do have an old resistance level here. Resistance, breakout, support test, breakdown. So, I mean, it's already down something fierce. It's down 17% from yesterday. That's why it's down 17% from yesterday. Yesterday was a pump and dump. So one could potentially look for a short here. The funding rate is positive, so longs are paying the shorts. It's not changing every hour, though. Looks like it could be changing every 4 hours. So you could watch this level objectively and say, well, if it fails to run above, or if it gets above and then fails, I could put on a short on Jelly Jelly. So let's set a limit and just see if this is, if I'm limited as to the position size I can trade on this. 04377. What was it? 04677 or 377? It was 377. 04377. Sell limit. It's $100 position. Oh, see that? I can only trade 10,000 jellies. But once again, it's going to literally be a $5 position. I probably wouldn't trade it. If you can trade more, then trade more, obviously. But I can't. I got a 4-hour supply zone up here, but that's not what I would be interested in. I want to just see, I mean, because we're at a support right in here, right? When this put in this lower close, it looked like it was going to break down. But if you look at the RSI, you're still above 50 here. So in theory, the bulls are still in control of this. So getting short above the 50 isn't always the best trade to make. Sometimes the best trade to make is to wait for the breakdown and then look for a retest into the 50 down in here somewhere. Same similar pattern, but down here. Look for that wick to come into play at your supply zone and then short it because you're at least under the 50. So if you're getting in short here, you are literally getting in short at support. But if it's a big mover, down to support is 4.39%. So it is a legitimate trade that can be taken, even though support is here, because you're only looking for a couple percent. I am a 4% move, if it were to fill me on a short up here, would be a pretty good amount of money on a normal position size. Because generally I'm only targeting 2% on a normal position size. So if I could take a normal position size on this, this would be a trade that I could take simply because it's down. How is it down more, bro? Anyways, because it's down while the rest of the markets are bullish. So there's an inherent weakness here. But yeah, I'm going to not take it simply because it wouldn't be worth taking. Not on a 10,000 token trade. Yeah. All right. Let me check it out. Did you ever try snus? No. No, I did not. Thank you, though. I could try it. That's not the stuff you put up your nose, is it? I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Uh, Buster G, good morning. Do you have any thoughts on Bitcoin not making a new all-time high against the euro, but did against the dollar? Do you think that was because the dollar was weak? It could be. So the DXY is a basket of currencies. It's not just the US dollar. The DXY is made up of a percentage of the euro, pound, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, New Zealand and Aussie dollar and Canadian dollar. Throw the loonie in there as well. Don't forget about the loonie. So all of those currencies make up the DXY basket. So, and since euro is like 60% of that basket, then euro is going to trade inversely to the dollar. So, I mean, your theory is okay, kind of. My thing would be this. Bitcoin, has it ever done that before? Like, have you ever seen Bitcoin make fresh highs against the euro when it was also doing it against the dollar? You would just have to compare charts, essentially. We can do that real quick. Like, I can compare BTC versus the euro. And just see, like, okay, so it didn't here. Bitcoin did here. And we would also want to compare the dollar chart. So that way we can see what the dollar was doing. Maybe change the color on the dollar. Maybe make the dollar a different color, like green or red. How about orange? We'll make it orange, just so it sticks out a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, clearly the euro sometimes struggles to make fresh highs, and when Bitcoin made a high here, the dollar was weak, but the dollar was also spiking at the same time. This is a weekly chart. So I'm looking at these weeks on Bitcoin and these weeks on the dollar. So they're kind of going up similarly. That would literally mean the euro at this time was going down. So the euro was going down. This is Bitcoin versus the euro. And the euro was a little bit stronger. Bitcoin versus the euro was a little bit stronger than Bitcoin versus the dollar. However, what it did not do that Bitcoin did do was make a fresh all-time high. Now, this is a line chart, so the all-time highs could be higher than that. I don't know. But we can see that the close wasn't anywhere near the high. Maybe the wick was a lot higher. I don't know. I could change this into candles, but then it would look like a mess, right? So I mean, is it possible for Bitcoin to not make a new high against the euro, even if it does with the dollar? Yeah, but you're kind of splitting peas, in my opinion. Not for you if you are holding Bitcoin versus the euro, right? I am holding Bitcoin, just Bitcoin, like the spot price of Bitcoin, and for me, I bought it on an exchange against the dollar. So yeah, I mean, my Bitcoin might be making fresh all-time highs. Your Bitcoin might not be, because it is priced against the euro. The euro is stronger than the dollar. It could happen. Yes. But I mean, if you're just asking that question to simply say, I mean, I don't know, it should still perform decently, because here is a period of time when the dollar was weak. Therefore, you know the euro was strong through here, right? This part right through here, the dollar was weak. Dollar weak. Euro, Bitcoin moving up. This is Euro Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It could happen. I guess I've answered your question. It could happen. Absolutely. I've never had anybody ask that question before. But I mean, if it is even relatively as strong as, it's probably going to move up against the euro too. It might not make a fresh all-time high, but if Bitcoin strengthens up here and starts ripping to the upside, then I imagine Bitcoin versus the euro will also. If you're saying it because you don't think Bitcoin's going to make a fresh all-time high, well, that's what you said back here too. Bitcoin and everything right now, this is in the context of a bullish market, this 3-week pullback here. It's not a very, if we would see big downside candles, then I would get concerned for Bitcoin. Like, for macro purposes, as long as it's trending higher, this is a weekly 21 test, and look at the reaction you're getting. There's your 21. It's a perfect dip buying opportunity. So right now, while we have a weak yen, a weak VIX, a strong risk market, a strong IWM, then you should be looking for dip buying opportunities, not looking to sell it for short opportunities. Short opportunities come when you break down below the weekly 21. That's when we want to start looking for those shorts. Because imagine if Trump did not change monetary, or maybe he didn't ever come out and say, you should be a buyer right now, not a seller. What if he never said that? What do you think would have happened here? More than likely, because he said that, Bitcoin spiked up off the lows. It was Trump's tweet, and then they brought out the rest of the news on the tariffs, right? And Bitcoin just literally ripped. Had that not happened, Bitcoin would have most likely experienced downside continuation from there. So the news is constantly changing what people are doing and what people are not doing. That's why you get pullbacks. But right now, I mean, this is not a serious correction at all. This is still perfectly within the context of a bullish market. Now let's go see what Bitcoin versus the euro looks like when it comes to its 21 exponential. Same thing. So when you closed under the 21 here, this entire week you could have had a bearish bias on Bitcoin, but where would you have been looking for the short? The first place you would have been looking for the short, if you listen to the things that I say, would have been the midpoint of that weekly range. That would have been your first short attempt. So let's break it down intraday here. So this is that weekly expansion to the downside right there. And you know that weekly 21 exponential is where, right? Roughly in this area. Let's go back to the weekly real quick. Let's go ahead and mark it. We want to mark it here because that's where it is. So we'll mark the weekly 21 exponential right there. So now we can go back into the daily and leave the daily 21x up. So you broke and closed the weekly under the weekly 21. So coming into the next week, you would be looking for a short side op right here. Maybe a little bit higher because you have more confluence here with a support zone. And we do know that sometimes when support is broken, it will occasionally act as resistance. So that would have been the first opportunity to look for shorts. Boom. You got stopped out. Because you would have been looking right in this area for the short. Now it's still under the daily 21, so you don't have to give up on your shorts yet. But the last area to look for shorts would be the 786. Now this is just going from the context of the previous week closed below the 21. We're not looking at yearly trend or monthly trends. We're only analyzing last week, this week, and looking for a short side opportunity because we're still closing dailies below the 21. However, we are right now trading above the weekly 21. So this is the last area you could take a short. The 21 daily res. That's it. That's the last point. You got 3 confluence levels for shorts here. The 786 daily res, the 21 daily exponential. Oh, as price ticks up into that, you'd be looking for shorts. Let's go down into the hourly, see what it does. Let's drop it down to 3 per second here so we're not going space balls fast. All right, boom. There's your short entry right here. This is what I teach people, how I teach people how to trade. And you closed last week below the 21. So if you're going to see downside continuation, this should be the weekly high right there. It's also happening at 9:30 on a Wednesday. So perfect. It's the absolute perfect timing to take a trade, and it's right into the level we would be looking for. We would be short there based on last week's price action. And this is your last chance. Remember, if price is trading above this, you cannot be short because you could be running the high of the previous week. If you do that, it doesn't look like a sell anymore. So let's play it out. Okay, so our short's working good so far. Now we're coming back into the weekly 21. We didn't get a full-on test of it. So now the buyers, anybody that thinks that the weekly 21 is going to hold as support, moving on, they're going to be looking to buy here. Or a liquidation below the week. This is the weekly low at this point? No, it is not. No, it is not. Okay, so this is Sunday. So right here is your weekly low. Okay, so now you're back under the midpoint. So if you're going to see downside continuation, you should see it from here. But buyers will be buying in this area based on the weekly 21. So they might not even need it to make a fresh weekly low. They could just simply see if support builds up here. If support builds up here, they will come in strong on the long. And you're holding a short based on last week, what it did, the close under. So you're short from, well, you got stopped out actually. That stopped you out. It's back down there now, but you would have literally got stopped out of this trade. So never mind, you're not even holding that short anymore. Now you're asking yourself, is this a long? And this is where you'd be looking for longs. This orange line. It doesn't even look like it's going to give you enough to buy. We're waiting to see if it's even going to give us an op. But clearly it's not. And this is where we are now, I guess. Or my stuff just lagged up. No, this is where we are now. So yeah, I mean, is it a sell? Not as long as you're trading above this. As long as you're trading above this, then the buyers are holding it, and they're holding it firm. So daily 21 though, where are you with that? Okay, so your sellers were also trying to hit it based on daily 21. Daily 21, that's where it stopped us out as well. And it did give that big downside move. So that was just, we missed it. But we're okay because, like, this is telling you right now that you could be in the process of shifting trend back to the upside. Whether you hold Bitcoin versus the euro or not, I'm just going by pure price and technicals. Just looking at that, I would not be a seller on this. I don't like it to the downside. This is not a huge move lower. When the bears are in control of an asset, they usually get really big downside moves. These weekly candles are very small. Like Bitcoin was just down like 13%, 13%. That's not a big down move for Bitcoin for any stretch of the imagination. We've seen Bitcoin have bullish pullbacks back in the 2020s of 37% and then bounce after that. But the more and more Bitcoin becomes used up by other people with the ETFs and things like that, it'll start trading smaller ranges. That's what you want. You want Bitcoin to become less volatile. The less volatile Bitcoin becomes, the better off it will be to hold as an asset. It will be better to buy it and hold it because you're no longer seeing 10% down days. If that makes sense. If I'm holding billions of dollars of money under management, I'm definitely not putting my customers' money into an asset that could experience a 10% drawdown in a single day. Like on a normal day, like not even a volatile day, just a normal day, Bitcoin could drop 10%. We're starting to see that change now. Bitcoin's only up 2%. And when it has a down day, it's only down 2 to 3, maybe 4%. So it's starting to slow down. It's starting to trade more and more like gold. And that's what everybody wants. Because when that happens, then you will get full scale adoption. Full scale. Then Bitcoin will... A 1% move on Bitcoin will be a big move. It'll be like a crypto or like a Forex pair, like a 0.5% on euro dollar or Aussie dollar. That's a standard daily range, 0.5%. Whenever Bitcoin gets to there, you're going to see a lot of day traders get out of Bitcoin. They're going to no longer like it. I mean, you can still lever up on it, so that'll probably never happen, really. As long as there are offshore exchanges offering 400% leverage, people will always be trading Bitcoin. I could not imagine the fees that you pay on a 400x leveraged out trade. I'd say it's immense. In fact, if you just get one tick in the opposite direction, you probably are getting stopped out. Yeah, crazy town. 400x. Hopefully I answered your question. It could be in the process of reversing trend right now. Obviously, we know that September is also, on average, a bad month for Bitcoin. We know that to be true. According to the data that we have right now, it's a fact. The median and the average are both negative. So on average and on the median of all of this data, Bitcoin has bad Septembers on average. So that is still, we still know that. So the fact that we're only testing the midpoint of August and we're not even doing that yet does not suggest that Bitcoin has firmed up here, that it is strong yet. It could still find resistance. We do know that there's a lot of potential short side leverage here at 114. Coin Bureau tweeted out just the other day, a $3 billion short squeeze is about to take place if Bitcoin gets to 114. Well, we got there. Today's high is 114,362. So if that data was true, if there was a $3 billion short squeeze setting there, why are we not seeing that short squeeze play out? Let's go back to the week here. And we did liquidate it. You have liquidated all the white hot data there. Now, this data is not calculated by limit orders or buy or sell fills. This is calculated based on past price performance. So these are not real. This is not real liquidity sitting in the market like so many retail traders think. They look at this map and they automatically assume that there are real positions setting at these prices. That is not true. There could be, obviously, but it doesn't mean they are. Judging by today's price action, it doesn't look like we're experiencing a $3 billion short squeeze, does it? The answer to that question is no, it does not. A $3 billion short squeeze would be a massive daily range. The day ain't over, folks. The day ain't over. It could end up closing up in here today, but it's not likely. It's not probable. We can look at the average true range. An average day for Bitcoin is a $2,700 price range. $2,700. Have we moved $2,700 today? Yes, we have moved $3,400 today. So Bitcoin has in fact already achieved its average true range. So sellers will be trying to sell Bitcoin up here based on that knowledge as well. So maybe we do see a larger daily range by the end of the day. Only time will tell. But as far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin hasn't really, it isn't the best asset to be looking to short. But up here, it will be a little bit better. I won't like it as long as it's holding above August's VWAP. But the sellers are going to show up the higher it gets anyways. That's just the way it works. People just don't stop trying to short tops, no matter what I tell them. They just keep on keeping on. And it isn't until they stop doing stuff like that that things start to work. But yeah, I mean, I like Bitcoin right now. I think the only thing that's going to hurt Bitcoin is quantum computing. That's about it. Maybe a 50 basis point cut, says Jewelry Affairs. Some people are saying it's possibility. The market is not pricing that in. The rate cuts or the bond market is not saying that. People are saying that. Just people. Because those people probably don't have anything on the line if they're wrong. So it makes it very easy to say things. But from all the data that I've looked at and from some of the traders that I listen to and follow, no one's expecting a 50 base. None of them are. I'm not either. The bond market's pricing in a 25 basis point rate cut. The Fed Watch tool is probably pricing in a 50 basis point rate cut. I mean, a 25 basis point rate cut. If we get higher inflation, that's going to dramatically hurt this 50 basis point rate cut idea. And as of right now, it's only a 10% chance that there's a 50 basis point cut. Right now, it's a 90% chance it's a 25 basis point cut. Higher inflation means the Fed needs to potentially hike rates. I mean, they don't because inflation is still low, but that's how the Fed fights inflation, is by hiking interest rates. They could potentially cut, but the jobs data that we got was only a 0.1% tick higher. If it was like a 0.4 or a 0.5 tick higher, then yeah, potentially a 50 basis point rate cut. You get lower inflation and a much bigger unemployment number, but we've gotten the unemployment number. The Fed will make their decision next week based on tomorrow's data. They've already gotten the PCE They've already gotten the NFP. Now they're just waiting on CPI. Once they have that data, they will then vote on what they're going to do. More than likely, it'll be a 25 basis point cut. If inflation ticks up strongly tomorrow, they might not even cut 25 basis points. But if that were to happen, then I would say be a seller on the 2-year bond. Right here's the 2-year bond. So if tomorrow comes out and inflation is way higher than expectations, you're probably going to want to take a short on this product. More than likely. Chances are you'll see something like this if the inflation comes out super high. But right now, it's looking good. I mean, the TLT looks good. Right? Finally, it's broken out of this multi-month range here, and you're seeing upside continuation occur. Nobody in the market right now is positioning themselves for much higher inflation. They're actually doing the opposite. Unless this is a sellable event, which it could be, right? If you get a much higher inflation print tomorrow, the TLT is probably going to get hammered. If inflation comes in as expected or lower, you could see another $1 or $2 move up by the time you get the Fed rate cut. Maybe one, you know what I mean? Maybe a buck. Maybe we get up to 90, 50. But it looks okay. And like I said, it's a multi-month trend you're breaking out of here. I mean, a multi-month range. You are literally putting in that break right now. So you've liquidated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of price action today. And well, when you spiked up there, not today. Today's an inside day, but you get what I'm saying. So if it's going to be a massive inflationary print tomorrow, this will be a selling off. Then you'll probably see the yen spike. You'll probably see the VIX spike. You'll probably see all kinds of things start to change a little bit. But nobody's expecting that to happen. Expectations are good. Bitcoin looks okay. It's just in a 3-month range. That's it. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look like this is the top. I don't know why people keep saying this is the top. This is the top. They've been wrong for years. Years. I remember seeing those same people say this was the top back in 2022. They were saying Bitcoin's top is in. And you know, just like I know, it wasn't. So everybody that's been saying the top is in since January of 2023, they have been wrong. Wrong. They're probably wrong now. It could be the top. How's that going to help us if this is the top? I'm not holding a short from up there, so it really doesn't matter if that is the top or not. I can't do anything about it. Neither can they. You know what I mean? Neither can they. There's nobody in their right mind except for the liquidation break strategy traders. Those people might have been able to get a position on Bitcoin up there. They probably got stopped out a couple times before they nailed it, though. So yeah, maybe they're those lucky few that are holding shorts from August's high. I mean, that happened at when nobody, like the Asian session is when that happened. It took 4 hours during the Asian session to reject all-time highs. So many stops were chewed up along the way. Many. because this was the all-time high. So at 4 o'clock, Bitcoin gets up above that. Then you have your 8 o'clock candle opens here, and then it liquidates the previous day's high and goes much further than the previous day's high. So how much further and how many hours did it take? Right there it is. So you liquidated the all-time high at 1800 hours. It wasn't until midnight, my time, when you finally broke back down. So 6 hours it took of shorts getting slaughtered. But anybody that shorted after 2100 hours are potentially still in the market. There's a very few. They're praying and hoping the top is in. But for the rest of humanity, nobody gives a shit. And we can't take a position based on that. We can only take a position based on the data we currently have. So to me, it doesn't even really matter the top is in or not. I hope it isn't, obviously, because I own Bitcoin. I want to see it get to $1 million. I think that would be cool. But at the same time, I don't really give a damn if it does or doesn't. It's not going to destroy my life if it doesn't. Oh, can you look at Chili's? Yeah, Chili's. CHZ. I was thinking about what chart to put it on. Sorry. Chili's on Binance. We'll look at it on Binance. Binance is the biggest exchange out there. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Clearly, I got levels back in 2022. It looks rough. I'm not even going to joke around. It looks really rough. It's been making lower highs and lower lows since the all-time high. So for 2 years, this thing's been trending lower. It's pretty much back where it started from. I wouldn't buy it just based on that. If there's some kind of if they're working on something, if it's a good asset, I don't think it is, as it's 0.0. It's 4 pennies. It's worth 4 pennies. It's a 4-cent product. So clearly not many people think there's much value in this. And it's not even a big mover. It could spike. It could spike. This entire monthly range is only a 5% move. So each day on average is moving about 2%. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good day trading asset if you nail the entire range for the day. If you're super levered up, then you could trade this on a daily basis. If you're buying and holding and just wanting it to pop, because it does look like it is putting in a rounding bottom here, I don't mind that. I mean, it's a gamble, but at the same time, it could pay off. It's just a gamble. It's not trending. It's trading inside August's range. August's range is trading inside July's range. July is trading, or did trade for a majority of it inside of May's range. You're super range bound down here. But to be fair, it has been making higher lows on the monthly, on your monthly chart. So for the last 4 months, you have put in higher low, higher low, higher low. You are wedging up. This is a symmetrical triangle. Symmetrical triangles can break either way. They do not have to break out to the downside. They do not have to break out to the upside. Looks like you put in a false break right there. Let's go look at the daily. Yes, you did. Okay, so that sucks. Why does trading you do that to me? Okay, so do you see what I see here? Like, you watched me tag that from monthly low to monthly low, right? On the monthly chart. Well, this isn't even June's low. There's June's low. There is not July's low. Yeah, so this really doesn't work. It works on the monthly chart. Am I on log? No. So June's low. You piece of garbage, man. So by me tagging it to June's low, it should be still on June's low on the daily. It is. I don't know who you are. Yeah, I'm not seeing the symmetrical triangle works on the monthly, but it doesn't work on any other time frame. Here, you could say this, it is a false breakdown, as it did not see downside continuation once it broke down. But that's about it. Now, if we move this trend line to capture the actual daily highs, which is going to be July's high to August's high. And now we've got July and August's high. Yes. You're trying to break out today. Log does nothing really to change those trend lines. So you're trying to break out today after a failed breakout down here. So if traders are looking at this pattern, you should see a breakout to the upside. If you own it from down here, just keep holding it. If you fail to break out above that upside trend line, well, then you might seriously want to think about taking profits. Now, if you're trying to buy it today in anticipation of a breakdown, a breakout, it's going to be very difficult to mitigate your risk for this larger pattern, but it could happen. I don't see any like aha moment that would have caused me to be a buyer on it. I would have been paying attention to it in this area, but it would have been a difficult buy because of that downside momentum. The next level for me to watch would have been 41.89. There's no 4-hour levels. Let's see if there's any 2-hour support zones. No, not really. It's not. This was not an easy trade. Okay, you got an hourly support right here. And you never got a test of it. It's been a difficult one to position on. Now, if you want to hit this with zero leverage and you don't care, like throw a $100 bill on it and you don't care about the $100 bill with zero leverage, then you could, in theory, do it that way. Putting leverage on the money that you're willing to risk is going to make your stop loss much, much different. Just by going 1x means your position will be completely liquidated on a 50% down move from where price currently is. Which is a big ass move. Right? So 2x leverage would give you a liquidation point roughly about there. But when you start talking 20x leverage, your liquidation on your whole $100 is going to be real tight. So it just depends on what you're expecting to get out of it. There's not any news on it. Last time there was news on Chili's was 7 days ago. And hackathon, here's the article, right? Chili's to hold hackathon on September 3rd. That doesn't really like scream buy and hold to me. But yeah, it is breaking out of a technical formation. Trying to. That's the only thing I can give you for Chili's. How you manage your risk will be up to you. Do you think rate cut will be a sell the news event since it's already priced in? We don't know that it's already priced in. We assume it's already priced in, but there's no way to know if it's already priced in or not. I can show you what I mean by that just by going and looking at the dollar chart. Of course, we're assuming the price cut is priced in, or the cut is priced in. But if you just go back and look at, we know that, where is the DXY? We know that rate cuts is typically bearish for the dollar, right? Well, when the Fed started cutting interest rates back last year, the dollar did the opposite. It rallied, and it rallied hard. There's your Fed funds rate. So the Fed started cutting rates in August 2024. The dollar ultimately in August did sell off, but it put in a descending wedge in September, and then it rallied all the way going into the end of the year. So from September midpoint, late September. Actually, yeah, late September going into the August open, the dollar rallied, and it rallied all the way into the end of the year on a rate cut. But then it rolled over. So if we would have been shorting the dollar here, assuming that the rate cut isn't priced in, we would have been getting killed all quarter long. So I never try to assume that it's priced in, that anything is priced in. Because it wasn't until we paused rate cuts when the dollar ultimately rolled over. So we have not cut any rates at all since the dollar rolled over. So we don't know what's priced in, what isn't priced in. There's no way to know. You could probably do a little bit of math if you're a math wizard and get close to whether or not these rates are priced in, but there's the news and then there's the market's reaction to the news. So there's really no way of knowing if this is priced in or not. We could assume that it's priced in, but I would argue and say this could be pricing in a 75 basis point cut. We haven't cut anything for a while, long time. And this could have already priced in a 75 basis point cut. So if it's only a 25 basis point cut, the dollar could rally all the way back up to 104. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, it's impossible to know if it's priced in or not. How much of it's priced in? We could assume it is. But I'd say it's easier to look at technicals for me to analyze the dollar, and that's what I base my trades upon. Not so much what's going on in the macro, I know that lower interest rates should be bearish for the dollar. I know that. I know that Donald Trump wants the dollar lower. I know that. So I can be looking for shorts on the dollar based on those two fundamental issues. Where is the question? Where is the best place to put that risk on? Well, I definitely don't want to be shorting dollar right now. One is we're in a massive long-term trend line down here. And we got this to perfection on another chart. It's this chart. Oh, did I just screw it up? There we go. So if we look at this chart on a line chart and take log off, so this is a line chart and it's a weekly line chart. If you put monthly candles on, it'll be different. It's not so perfect. But on the weekly line chart, this is an absolute perfect trend line. Test, hold, test, hold, and then back here's when it was made, right? So the fact that the dollar's been chopping up down here means that, yeah, it's a big technical trend line and a lot of people are watching it. So I don't necessarily want to get short right into it. So I haven't taken any longs on euro based on this. However, I did tell my Discord that if we traded back up to August's open or even June's open, we could then look to be a potential buyer on the euro, which means a seller on the dollar. But not down here. Down here, you're trading into last month's close. You're under it, but it could spike here based on this trend line. And it's already tested it this month. So it does look like the dollar's trying to break down, but it's failing to do so. It's also failing to go up. It's literally printing candles. Sideways candles. This is piano keys on the daily. Looks like a piano board. Like you're not going anywhere. You haven't gone anywhere. You're not trending. You're in a range. However, we are trying to trend. You got to be under August's low to be in a trend, but to be in a a long-term trend, you got to get under August's low. So until you break and start putting in trend continuation candles under August's low, you're still in a range. So you're kind of in the middle of a range. Now we can fib August's candle, and that'll tell us basically about where we are inside the range. And then we could potentially look for areas to mitigate our sell side trades based on August's range. But it hasn't really been working out for anybody. Like anybody that sold August's midpoint here got beat up. But anybody that tried to sell the 382 here were okay. And they're still okay. So at least these people that got short here, they're okay. They're doing okay. But they definitely don't like that look. You got rate cuts coming next Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Be Wednesday or Thursday. I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday right there. Wednesday, September 17th. So we got FOMC here. This is probably going to be the day that this range gets a little bit of continuation or reversal. I would say tomorrow people are going to be, depending on what the CPI does, people are probably going to be looking for shorts on the dollar. But man, it's so close to that. And I know that it's not even trending until you get back down to here. It's like, so what do we do here? It's like, it's a difficult trade, man. It's been super choppy. Look at this. This day looked like a trend continuation day. I've been short the dollar since here. Right? We shorted the dollar via USD JPY. We shorted it, or I shorted it on NFP day. So I'm still holding that short, but it is not working out. I'm short from here. Way up there. That's where my short sits, right at 150.86. So I'm just setting in this short, paying the longs, because the interest rate differential on the USD versus the Japanese yen is skewed to the longs, not the shorts. So by setting in this short, and simply because it's done nothing for so long, I'm not getting paid. I'm literally paying to hold the short. Now, if it does break down because of interest rate cut and, you know, Donald Trump wants the dollar to go lower and all that stuff, then hopefully the yen stays. Well, we would want the yen to be, it doesn't really matter. If the dollar's super weak because of all that, then eventually it should start to trend, right? But this is trading versus the yen, so if the yen would need to strengthen up to really make this thing go. Like on this day right here, the dollar was weak and the yen was strong, and that forced a big multi-day low take. We took out 4 days worth of lows in one day. Boom. And those were big upside days too. Those were huge upside days. So we put on our dollar short theory back here. We've just been setting in it, paying the longs for it to go nowhere. So clearly we want trend resumption. We want the dollar to resume its trend to the downside. And we did that by getting short here. I did post this trade on every single social media platform that I have. Every single one. Every single one. We were watching this level right there. And we were live publicly the day before NFP. And that's when I explained to everybody that you could get that big down move tomorrow. Today, we have to act as if though the short is no bueno. But I explained how if you just simply watch or wait until the new day open, wait for a liquidation above this day and short it in anticipation that NFP is going to help it break down, you could have caught the trade. That's where we are right now. We're just setting in it, waiting, watching, and we are looking for trend resumption. It is a downtrend for 2025. It is still in a downtrend for 2025. Up here is the January open. So the trend looks like resumption, or we want to see resumption, but here's the trend right there. There's your year open. So your trend is a few months of downside. Then you went into a 4-month range. Now we're looking for this to take us into the end of the year, because Trump wants dollar weakness. Because rate cuts, because whatever, right? We just want trend resumption. We want to see a breakdown And this is what we want to see happen. That's the trend following trade. We got it. We're just paying the longs to sit in it. And that could be why you are not seeing this specific pair break down. Because people know there's a lot of combined risk in the yen. That yen risk is also in assets like Nvidia. We discussed this on a channel member only live stream where, like, if the dollar yen breaks down under 140, you could potentially see like a massive risk off move across all markets based on the simple fact that this massive carry trade that's been on the USD JPY since here, this is when the interest rate differentials took off to the buy the USD yen. So you can see how like 140 is the line in the sand, right? So if this does break down, this could potentially cause a cascading effect of unwinding risk on and fixing this yen carry trade. And that could end up forcing this to be one of the best trades of all time. But in order for that to happen, a lot of people are going to get hurt and a lot of people are going to get wrecked. And I do not wish that to happen. I want you guys to hear what I'm saying. I have a short position on, so if the world got obliterated, I would become rich. Okay? But I do not want that. I do not want that. I do not want that with my whole heart. I would be more than okay with shutting this short down. But it is a trade, and I'm willing to hold it just in case. There's also a head and shoulders there on the monthly, guys. Like boom, boom, boom. That's a head and shoulders. Neckline break, 140. Like, you're going to have a technical formation break. You're going to see a lot of people want to get short the yen if it does, in fact, or long the yen by getting short USD JPY if it does, in fact, break 140. We can look at the interest rate differential right here. It's the near-term rates, but it's right here. I already have it pulled up for you. So, like, you see how this is USD up here. This is the BOJ down here, Bank of Japan. So when these two lines were going in opposite directions, when the USD was doing this, the BOJ was doing this. This spread is what caused people to literally get long this asset. This spread in the yield curve is why people bought it down here. It's also why we were looking to buy it down here. And it's been on for a long time. But if we look at this, we can see that it is now tightening. You are no longer spreading out, right? You're no longer going out. You are now tightening. Now, this is the near term over here. The long term is still good way out here. It's still okay. You can see that via the lines. The long term rates are still okay. They are getting tighter though. These lines are getting smaller and smaller, right? You see that? So even the long term rate is tightening. But the very near term rate, well, let me do it this way because that looks all like dirty and ugly. Here, I can do it pretty. I have the tools, man. I have the tools to make perfection. So look at the line. I want you to focus on the size of this white line. That's what you're looking at. That's showing you the width of the spread literally tightening. So each line is getting shorter and shorter, right? Yes. Okay, perfect. Now, since you know that, if this trend continues, which this will come off. I'm not the best macro guy out there. I'm more of a technical guy. But I'm trying to beat this into your head. This might be one of the best trades of all time. And not many people are talking about it. We've been talking about it all year. But we just had to wait for our opportunity to get short. We didn't really want to get short while we were in a multi-month range. We needed to wait for the top edge of that monthly range to get breached. And then we wanted to see prices instantly reject back into that range to tell us if we might be right or wrong. If I was going to be wrong, you should have seen upside continuation. So like if I'm totally wrong on this, what should have happened when you broke out here is this month should have opened and did that. And then this month open and do that. If I'm wrong, that's what should have happened. But this didn't happen. This didn't happen because of that interest rate spread. So if I am right, look at this. Right? And it's going to get hard to break through here, more than likely. So this trade could take years, 2 or 3 years. But if that happens, you could see that and that. And that's what we're in it for. So we're going to hold this one until the wheels fall off. Or until we get stopped out, whichever happens first. I pray that we get stopped out. I pray we get stopped out. Because if we don't get stopped out, then yeah, I would start saying maybe it's time to cut our Bitcoin exposure down a little bit. If you own NVIDIA, maybe take some of that exposure off. You know what I'm saying? Because you do not understand. This is the reason why this asset is the reason why your NVIDIA trade is up so good. It's right here. Are you starting to see it now? Like, boom, boom. This asset is why this asset is up so much. So Donald Trump may inadvertently get what he wants, which is a lower dollar. And by doing, though, that could literally cause what he doesn't want to happen, which is a top in the markets for a very, very long time. This is such an important asset, and you're not hearing anybody talk about it. Nobody. There's only 17 of you that are in here right now listening to me talk about it. So only 17 of you will be able to capitalize on this if we're right, unfortunately, and that's scary. I don't want it to be right. I really don't. So many people will get hurt. People's retirements will go bust. You will see unwind like you've never seen before, and we don't want that. But if it does happen, we will get rich. I mean, richer, right? I don't have a timeline on this trade. I did put a timeline on it, and I said 140 to 135 by December. Clearly, that's not happening. I mean, we're already almost into September now. So if this thing don't start getting moving this month and next month, then I'm probably just wrong. And I'm okay with that because I also hold Bitcoin long. If this starts to work out, then I probably will start shedding some of my Bitcoin portfolio. Yeah, probably. But it's still a long ways off. And this is a massive maybe, right? This isn't a guaranteed thing. Because financially speaking, it's going to put a squeeze on everybody that is setting in Japanese yen if they keep cranking up interest rates. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm not looking for the yen to crank up interest rates. I'm just looking for the dollar to start cutting interest rates. If the yen cranks interest rates at the same time the dollar cuts interest rates, then the government is literally trying to cause a crash. Because somebody inside of Donald Trump's administration knows this. It's not just me. It's not just a few other people out there. Everybody knows that will happen. But inside of the year 2025, if you didn't short the open, then the only other opportunity to catch this trade was here. Right? Right. So that's why we took it. So I don't know what the dollar's going to do, but if it does break down and break down strongly, then we should be okay sitting in that USD JPY short. And it isn't, let's be clear, it is not the United States government's fault that people are over leveraged in a Nvidia trade. It's absolutely their fault. Whoever is setting in an over leveraged Nvidia long based off of an interest rate spread that you went and borrowed the yen and then turned right around and bought Nvidia with 6x leverage. That's all on you, bro, not the government. You should have already been unwinding that position if you did that. Because damn, dude, how greedy do you have to freaking be? Like, this thing has been doing nothing but go up since 2023's open. That is only been going up. There is your 2023 opening price for Nvidia. If you have not taken profits on this and you bought this January of 2023, you are a greedy person. And you might just cause the top. If you ain't paying attention to the USD JPY spread. Anything else? Let me read the comments. Can you look at, oh, we did look at that. Personally, I hope it doesn't get those small ranges. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Lifestyle Media. Let me read. It's a big tic tac that goes under the lip. It must have been on another asset that I was looking at earlier. Doge. Yeah, let's go look at Doge. Doge is another one that did really good in July. Like really good, along with Fartcoin and others. Fartcoin is doing good, by the way. Look at that. Yeah, boy. Liking that. Why isn't Ethereum? I'm going to look at Doge real quick. I just wanted to see what's going on over here. So maybe dominance is putting the squeeze on Ethereum. So maybe capital rotations are happening from Ethereum to Bitcoin. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know why people would do that, but maybe that's what's going on. So I'm glad I didn't put all my baskets or all my eggs in the Ethereum basket this morning, because I've only been able to take profits on the Fartcoin long, not the Ethereum long. So maybe it does end up catching support here and ripping. I'd say today's going to be sideways for the rest of the day because of CPI tomorrow, right? I mean, you got September's open here. I would say people are going to settle down. The CPI is going to be a very, very big number tomorrow, regardless of what the number is. People are going to be waiting for it. And then they're going to decide what they're going to do. Then it could break down and come back to your entry. So make sure your risk is mitigated if you did buy it with us earlier this morning when we started the stream. If you bought Ethereum with us, make sure your risk is mitigated. It looks okay, and as long as you're trading above September's open, you're still safe. But if you break under this, then you're going to be the next ones to be threatened. So let's go back to Doge. So Doge had a really great month in July. And it did give a lot of it back, but it did hold the midpoint. No, it didn't. Sorry, midpoint way up there. My bad. So it didn't hold the midpoint. Then August was an inside month range, and September is inside August. So you're trading inside July's candle. So it's sideways. It looks good on the weekly. Now that you're back above that and you're back above weekly res, it looks good. We can get rid of last week's high. That high is not important. No high is as important for Doge as July's high. Right? So July's high is the most important. I don't need to put a line up there because that's where the zero marker is for July's high. But it looks good. You're trading above weekly res. And anytime you're doing that, it looks good. If it would have traded up to that and rejected today, I would have been a little bit more concerned. Well, it wasn't today. It was Monday when you absolutely broke above that. So now there's still some daily resistance levels over here and a daily swing high. It's actually going to be a weekly swing high as well. You took that out yesterday and rejected. You're kind of sort of rejecting that today as well. That is a weekly swing high. It's the previous week's swing. So for you Doge longers, the people that are long Doge, they definitely want to see it break back above this and hold with a bullish continuation. I don't love to see. Okay, so when a resistance level looks like it's getting ready to be broken, it does look good when this happens. But I'm like Buster G on this point, knowing that this is the level of resistance that most people are focused on. I would much rather see price break above that and then hold support above it. He didn't say that in this live stream. He just said it on Twitter a long time ago, and I totally agree with that sentiment. I would much rather see support hold above the level than below the level. Because as long as it's below the level, it is still resistance. You are forming a very, very near-term intraday ascending wedge here. Very near-term, very intraday. Oop. So as long as you're not trading under this little line right here, you may be okay. Moving forward. I mean, you're wedging up on an intraday basis. This is a big resistance level. We can also look at volume structure, the profile, to see if we are point of controlling it. We are not. So that's a good sign. It's a bad sign when the resistance level gets the point of control. It's not always a good sign when that happens, especially late session. We're coming into midpoint of the day. I mean, well, it's way beyond the midpoint of the day because the day gets ended at 8 p.m. for crypto. But the fact that most of your sellers are down here, that's much better than a little clump of sellers up here. It doesn't mean this will break to the upside. I'm just saying, whenever the point of control migrates to the level late session, that's when I start looking for the new daily range to open, liquidate, and potentially drop. So that will be Doge's problem going on today, more than likely, because tomorrow's CPI. So if it stays wedging up here and sideways up here all day, this will start to grow. And your point of control will potentially migrate higher. Most people in the day's range are smart traders. They bought the dip. So they're not going to be threatened unless price comes all the way back down. If that happens, then you could see a further unwind lower. But as long as price is consolidating up here, these people are safe. Even people that bought it yesterday are safe. But new sellers that are jumping onto it up here, they're praying that it breaks down. But it looks okay. I wouldn't short this, not with this volume structure, not with this daily range structure. I mean, they sold it at Asia and then they bought it at Asia. Like, this is a 30-minute candle. You had one little dip, you liquidated the higher low, and then you rallied, and then London came online and London bought support, and now you're moving up. So you need to see it break, but I mean, as far as looking at it right now, I don't see a reason to short it. If it does not break today, then maybe I would be interested in shorting it at the open of the new day range once we liquidate today's high and reject. But if today's high ends up being way up here, then clearly I'm not going to be looking to put on a short on the new day range over here. It's only if it stays here all day. If it stays here all day, this point of control migrates up, then that's what I would probably be looking for. Because the second, once New York, 2:30, 3 o'clock, we see big moves sometimes. We probably won't today, but sometimes we do, right? The late New York session, people positioning for the next day. Maybe that brings enough volume in between 2 and 4 o'clock to break out to the upside. I'm not looking for a big gigantic break. Just get above this weekly swing high and hold that as support. Then I would think it looks better for an upside continuation move. And that's basically all I got for you on Doge. Riot. Let's go look at Riot. Riot's looking really good finally. Well, hang on. Let me not get ahead of my skis here. Yeah, it looks good. It's finally starting to make some moves happen here. So Riot has been trading inside July's range. You're trading above it finally. That's good. That's what you kind of want to see, right? It's in a long-term range. I think the problem that Riot and Mara are both seeing right now is there's just too many roads to get back on the Bitcoin highway. Back in 2020, when this thing absolutely did a moonshot, there weren't as many ways to participate in Bitcoin's rally, right? There's your moonshot. March 2020, you were trading at 82 cents. By February 2021, you were trading at $80. That is a moonshot. It's a moonshot if I ever saw one. Do I think you're going to see a 10,000% return on Riot ever again? Probably not. And the reason is because there's 10 ETFs. MicroStrategy has 5 different products that you can get involved with Bitcoin volatility. There are so many avenues to participate in Bitcoin's rally that it's hard for me to see Riot ever getting back above $80. Is it possible? Yeah. If they start making money as a company, if Riot, the company, starts to invest in something other than Bitcoin mining, like if they were smart and they were making a shitload of money and they were taking that cash on hand and investing it in technology in other sectors, then yeah, obviously Riot could get back up there. But as long as it is a non-money making company that is only a Bitcoin miner, I don't see them ever get. They blew up like this because they became a Bitcoin miner. Riot wasn't all. Riot used to be a penny stock. We used to trade Riot way back in the day as a penny stock. Riot Platforms wasn't Riot Platform. Do you remember when the shipping companies was doing really good? When all those shipping companies were doing really good, Riot exploded during that period of time. Riot wasn't even a container shipping company. So it's, yeah, I mean, Riot needs to make money. That's what you need for Riot. You need Riot to make money. Let's go look at Finviz. Free site, not being paid to say this. It's just a helpful tool. I don't think people fully understand, how investing works, but these guys don't make money. However, this is getting better. It used to be a lot worse. So since this number is going in the right direction, this used to be a 3-digit number. This used to be like a $400 million losing a year company. So it's going in the right direction. Okay, that's good news. That is good news. They do have cash. That's another good thing. Now, if they start investing wisely and they start paying off their debt and this and that, then Riot could be a great company to own. And it is going in the right direction. That's why you're seeing it trading at the top of the range. So that looks good. I like Riot. If it can keep going in that direction, then theoretically this stock can continue to climb. If they've got some work to do, they can't just be a Bitcoin mining company and make money, especially knowing that every 4 years the money miners make on Bitcoin gets cut dramatically in two. Like, it gets harder and harder for miners to make money. Now, there are other ways that they, obviously, I know that stuff, but you need to look at Riot as a company, and you need to pay attention on their books, like the money they're making, new technologies they plan on implementing. Do they have a research and development program, an R&D, all of that stuff? If they do, and their cash on hand starts building more and more, and then they start doing smart investing, then Riot could eventually become a good company to invest in. Just as a Bitcoin miner, I think you're better off in other like if you're only long Riot because Bitcoin, I think you'd be better off holding Bitcoin ETF or something. But if Riot continues to do good, they could explode. Absolutely. This chart looks good. It looks better than it did, right? You're trending now, right now, today. You are trending. You are above July's high, which is good news. It's good news. Now, can it maintain that strength? That's the question moving forward. So for me, if it breaks back under July's high, then I'm going to more than likely want to be chilling on being a long buyer. Now, on the very, very near term for your 21 tests, looks like they bought and hold support. It looks good. We can see that trend starting to happen on the monthly time frame. Your daily chart, the moving averages look really good here. As long as you don't see a big dump, this looks good. It looks structured well. Looks like people are starting to focus on Riot again. It's a $15 asset, which is good news. It's not a $5 penny stock. So you don't have that against you. So yeah, it does look good. It looks like a long-term bottoming formation. A breakout could happen. I don't know how big of a breakout you would see, but what's the short flow? Does it have a huge short flow? It does. It's got a 22% short float. I like that. That could help Riot expand higher. You can see the level that you clearly need to get above for that short float to start unwinding. And then Riot options. Hang on one second. I'm going to look at. I just want to see. Cheap options generally will pull retail in. And they do have cheap options. Their option spreads are tight. And they're pretty liquid. I'm looking at a lot of contracts trading. Riot could see a short squeeze soon. It could. If retail could get involved, like if a couple big YouTubers and Twitter people that have like millions of followers, that they start tweeting about Riot, and then retail starts jumping on board and you start to see that frenzy, then Riot could do big things. It's literally structured to do it. It would be difficult for me to buy it here, but I could put on like a YOLO play on Riot easily. Like I could go out there and put on a trade so easy because the options are good. Like here we are out in December 19th, so mid-month December. We could potentially buy like, I don't want to do it today because we are just now today breaking out. Today could be a trap. We have big news tomorrow, so please do not put this trade on right now. Big news tomorrow could send Riot scrambling back down. But you could, in theory, buy like a 17 strike and sell the 21 strike. You would make a $300 trade on and be risking $100. Not bad. Now, in order to make that $300, you would need to see Riot well above $21 before December 19th. Could Riot get above $21 before December 19th? Yeah. In fact, if it does get above $21, you would see that short squeeze happen. Or some of it start to happen. The big traders that are holding Riot shorts, they're probably not going to start filling the squeeze until $30-$40. But yeah, if it starts to do something like that, you could see massive move on Riot. The float is not as small as it used to be. I did see that. So the short float is good, but the shares outstanding, this used to be a low float, low cap penny stock. Low float is under 10 million shares outstanding. You got 363 million shares. So this stock has been diluted a lot. But they've completely changed their entire structure around. All right. It's a small cap, so it's in the rut. The rut doing good is also going to help it. Clearly, Russell. But yeah, big things could be happening on Riot pretty soon. For sure. Mara not looking near as good as Riot. I wonder why. Let's go look. Let's get rid of everything. Yeah, Riot's still negative on the year. I mean, Mara's still negative on the year. Riot isn't. Riot's up good this year. Riot looks better than Mara. Let's go look at Mara's financials. I'm not digging into their financials. I just want to see, are they making money? No. Yes, sorry, that's a positive number. My bad. They are making money. Finally, Mara's making money. Their shares outstanding, 370. Short float is bigger, 28%. So Mara, in theory, could rally if it could break out. It's not breaking out. It's trying to right now. It would be a multi-month breakout if it could get above 1650, but it's not a huge breakout. Not a huge breakout until it gets buck above $33. But Mara is holding support. Mara is failing to see any downside continuation below 1450 for now. That could change, but for now, it's doing okay. It's holding its own. It's very sideways. But you can see every time it gets sub $15, people buy it. Like, here's $15. They bought it over here. They bought it here. They bought it here. And they bought it through here. So it looks like $15 or, $14, $13.50 max. Like, those are all good areas to put on short puts. You're not going to make a lot of money by putting on a short put on Mara, but you could put short puts on Mara. Depending on how much you own in your account and all that stuff would determine your position sizing and whatnot. But yeah, 1350s don't have much money on them at all. But 14s do. 14s have 15 pennies. You could literally sell those. Get down to $14. Are you willing to get filled at $14? Yeah, I mean, looking at this chart, I wouldn't mind owning Mara at $14. At least since the beginning of June. You haven't even been able to trade under $14. So since the beginning of June, you could have been selling the $14 strike and been just collecting premium every month. It's into resistance clearly here, but if Bitcoin go up, Mara Riot might go up, right? But both of them are no longer losing hundreds of millions of dollars, which is a good thing. So that can only help the asset go up over time. Could 114K short work for Bitcoin? What do you think? I don't have a short side bias on Bitcoin. Could it work? Yes. I can't see into the future, so I don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. But yeah, you have a little bit of confluence here. You have the 382 of August expansion, or decline. Sorry, it was not an expansion. The very beginning of August was an expansion, but the rest of August was absolutely a decline. So you're trading up into that. That's one level of confluence. You have August's VWAP sitting right there, which is the volume weighted average price. That's another level of confluence. And then you have this 3-week high. This week is 1, 2, 3 weeks. So that 3-week high. The next weekly level to liquidate is all the way up to 117. So you do have 3 levels of confluence here for a potential short to work out. That's all I can say. I mean, because I can't see into the future. It doesn't look like it's a short because yesterday was a close back under the 21. But yesterday didn't make Monday into a trap. You didn't take out Monday's low. You didn't take out Monday's low today either. So Monday's low is held and you're seeing upside expansion today. So a short here with 3 levels of confluence would definitely be against the weekly trend. Could you be putting in the weekly high right now? Of course you can. It matters what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is CPI. At 8:30, you will get the CPI print. Since we went live for the public today, we might not go live for CPI tomorrow because I meant to go live for the Discord only today. So that was my fault. But yeah, I mean, it looks okay. It looks good. It looks like it's trying to advance. But with that being said, you do have those big levels of confluence. On an intraday basis, are you seeing volume build up? Has the point of control migrated higher? It has. That right there does not look good. It does not look good. So now things have changed for Bitcoin, haven't they? Now, could this cause a short squeeze? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. So when you, if you purge today's high, what happens after that will be so important. If it rips, then clearly I wouldn't be looking for a short at 114. You might not get a chance to short 114, judging by this volume structure. Notice how it's mostly buy side volume up here. And the next node, and the next node. All of this is mostly buy side. So a lot of shorts have already been stopped out. We can see that. So this is a little bit disheartening. So if Bitcoin trades sideways for the rest of the day, I would be looking at what Bitcoin does in the Asian session above today's high. If it rallies above that and shows an explosive upside move, I would definitely not short it. If it barely peaks above and rejects hard, I would be willing to put on a short on Bitcoin, but not right now. Not right now. You need to wait for at least intraday resistance to be tested. 114, 130. You might not see it. It could just start dumping based on this structure. I don't like that. That's not good. That ain't good. That's what we were talking about on Doge. If Doge does that, then it wouldn't look so good. ETH hasn't done it yet, but ETH is failing to get upside continuation. It's at a big level of support here. But yeah, it's not looking great. As long as it holds support, I still like it higher. So yeah, I'll be keeping Bitcoin on watch now that this has happened. Be careful if you are shorting it, because this, if there is a lot of just people were buying up here, like that could force prices lower too, because their stops, as the lower price goes, these people that bought the highs, their stops start getting peeled off, and that causes more sell side liquidity. That could help force prices lower, but it's impossible to see what's going to happen based even looking at this. You have a lot of confluence up here. It does look like a lot of people have decided to go on and put on a short position. This point of control did migrate from up here, is where it was earlier this morning. You can just back up the daily range and see where it was. It was here. We're going to play it to 9:30 and then we'll wrap this stream up. It migrated higher at the 9 o'clock open. Then 9:30 happened. And then you've seen massive amounts of liquidations. Shorts getting squeezed, but they don't stop. You know, when you eat a stop, do you instantly quit trying to short Bitcoin? Of course you don't. You get stopped out and you immediately put the trade right back on, right? That's generally what happens all day. That'll continue to happen. But you can just see how the sellers are starting to show up. You shouldn't be seeing sell side up in here, right? Unless it's people literally selling. It's people taking profits and short sellers jumping on. The very first flash up into here was nothing but buy side liquidity. That was the shorts getting squeezed. But you didn't see that squeeze continue. We may see the squeeze continue today, but chances are, since tomorrow's such a big news day, it won't. It doesn't mean it won't, but it might not, right? Because big news coming tomorrow. But yeah, I don't love this structure. It does look like shorts are loading the boat here. So just keep an eye on it. I think I would much rather see a liquidation above the high first. Then see what happens. Does price reject up there after an hour, after a 1 second? Like, what happens? That would motivate me to potentially look for shorts. But the watch list doesn't motivate me to look for shorts. Here's your crypto watch list. And I'll even throw the VIX in there for you for good measure. Not a whole lot of stuff bearish today. The VIX is... the VIX is bearish. It's down on the day. Risk markets are still up. Dominance is currently trying to push right now, so something could be... Is Ethereum trying to push? No, it's going the opposite direction. That's why dominance is going up. So Ethereum is trying to stop us out. I'm so glad I got long Fartcoin too. That's all I can say. This sucks. I don't like this, but it is what it is. Going into a newsprint, people are trying to get short, right? They're expecting super high inflation. All your people that think the top is in, crypto market's going to zero, blah, blah, blah. Those people are obviously shorting Bitcoin today. There's a lot of confluence, guys, so it could roll over. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.